Recap, the Renewed Hope agenda has 8 priority areas covering the following: reform for sustained growth, national security, food security, energy and natural resources, infrastructure, human capital development, economic diversification, and governance. By working impactfully across all these areas, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the entire administration is determined to leave a lasting transformative impact on Nigeria. Couple of minutes. They will speak to us about what they do in their various ministry, and of course you, the media, will have the opportunity to ask them questions and make comments where necessary. Distinguished guests and media colleagues, we are resolute in making sure that in communicating government policies and activities, our watchword is to restore trust in public communication. Even as we amplify government programs and policies, it is our continuous desire to ensure that we uphold the truth at all times. We are also creating an enabling environment for all players and stakeholders in the media and information ecosystem to thrive. One highlight of this is the desire and the directive of Mr. President to the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment through the Bank of Industry to extend single media organizations in the country. This, the President believes, will help to cushion some of the challenging effects of the high cost of operating the media in this country. It is now incumbent on all media practitioners to develop bankable proposals to access this financing and to take advantage by all the support being granted by the federal government. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we have made efforts to ensure relevant, credible, and timely information. I urge you, my colleagues, to put the sense of this nation in the front banner. We must ensure that there's a great deal of patriotism in the way we report at all times. I thank you for joining us here today and for being consistent in supporting us to make this ministerial press briefing series a resounding success. May God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Minister of Information and National Security. Can we please give them a round of applause once again? Very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, at this time we'll move to the business of the day. Coming up to the microphone at this time is the Honorable Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abubakar Kyari, CON. Please a round of applause for him.
Honorable Minister for Information and National Orientation, Alhaji Mohammed Idris Malaki, Your Excellency, the Honorable Minister for Budget and Economic Planning, Senator Atiku Abubakar Bagudu, Honorable Minister for Aviation, Mr. Barrister Festus Kiamo, SAN, my brother, my colleague, the Honorable Minister of State for Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Aliu Sabi Abdullahi, CON, my big brother, Chief Bayo Onanuga, Special Advisor to Mr. President on Media and Communication Strategy, heads of other agencies here present, Permanent Secretaries, especially Permanent Secretary of Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, Mr. Temitope Peter Shidemi, heads of agencies under the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, I can see quite a number of them here, and directors of the Federal Ministry of Food Security, Agriculture and Food Security, and other directors and heads of agencies in the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation. Distinguished members of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I am undoubtedly grateful for this privilege, and especially for the opportunity given to me and my colleague, the Honorable Minister of State, Senator Aliu Sabi Abdullahi, CON, by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, to implement the critical segments of the Renewed Hope agenda as encapsulated in agriculture and its many dimensions and derivatives. We are fully conscious of the linkages of food security, which is the #1 item on the 8-point agenda of Mr. President, that includes job creation, poverty reduction, access to capital, inclusivity, among others. The expressed political will of Mr. President in realizing the goals of the state of emergency on food security is reflected in the support he has given to our ministry in achieving its larger mandate, while ensuring that ultimately the goal of food security is manifested in the President's desire that Nigerian goes to bed hungry. We knew from the outset that it would be business unusual for us to achieve Mr. President's goal with respect to agriculture and food security, which informed, in his wisdom, the renaming of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development to reflect the agenda of food security. This is because over time, several integrity of data of genuine farmers through the infusion of ICT and active collaboration with subnational governments, traditional institutions, security agencies, and civil society. State that we are on course to fully achieving year-round farming. In this regard, the objective is to ensure that subsidized inputs and other targeted benefits get to the genuine farmers whose production, when ramped up, will, along with other factors in the macroeconomic environment, reduce food inflation that has become a concern to Mr. President and this administration. In the foregoing comments are, as it were, an introduction to milestone achievements in the agricultural sector in the past 1 year of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration. As many gentlemen of the press who are here today may be aware, I was here in the same National Press Center in February this year to kickstart the materials, promote market access and competitiveness, facilitate rural social economic development, and generate employment. The Federal Ministry of Agriculture thereby focuses to deliver the mandate of the ministry to achieve the 8-point agenda of Mr. President, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, of food and nutrition security. We launched the dry season farming with cultivation of 118,657 hectares of wheat in 15 states in acceleration of all year-round farming. We launched that all year-round farming in November in Jigawa State, who has the largest share of the 118,000 hectares, with 40,000 allocated to it. But I'm happy to announce that at the end of the season, Jigawa had produced 55,000, thereby exceeding the allocated 40,000 by 15,000 hectares. We also supported 107,429 wheat farmers with inputs, resulting in output of 474,628 metric tons of wheat. The support that was given, as we all know, was 50% subsidy of all inputs, fertilizer, agrochemicals, that is herbicides and insecticides, and also seeds, wheat seeds, free of charge. We also imported 6,750 tons of wheat from Mexico, and also covered about 5,500 of seeds procured and sourced locally. The harvest that we have realized would have an estimated value of about 309 billion naira injected into the economy. In response to presidential directive, we also released for the food security agenda, released to NEMA for onward distribution to the parts of the country, to vulnerable population, the 42,000 metric tons of assorted food commodities made up of maize, sorghum, millet, and gari. We also procured and distributed to all states of the Federation, including FCT, 58,500 metric tons of milled rice to dampen escalating prices. These 58,500 was a deliberate tactic that we did not go to the market to buy so as not to stimulate the upward price. So what we did was we had the right 100 metric tons of milled rice. That translated to 1,950 trailers of rice. In addition to our strategy, we also fortified crops with vitamin A, micronutrient to enrich nutrition. Very, very serious issue where we have stunted growth and wasted growth that affects the gray matter of especially children of below the ages of 5. The Honorable Minister of Budget and Planning is also a member of the National Council on Nutrition and also the Secretariat of the National Council on Nutrition. So we are also ramping that, and we have been able to do that in the dry. Dry season. In response to also the persistent food inflation, the following measures were undertaken to boost production. We distributed 60,432 metric tons of improved seeds, 887,255 metric tons of seedlings, 138 numbers of value kits, 501,726 liters of agrochemicals, 62,328 metric tons of inorganic fertilizers, 1,000 kilograms of fungicide, and 33,200 numbers of different equipments to farmers across different value chains to enhance production. I must say here, the issue of the inorganic fertilizer is of key interest to the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, because as we all know, prices of fertilizer has gone up. Today, fertilizer, the NPK, which is the common fertilizer, has urea as a major component in that fertilizer. Urea is also an issue. Urea is produced locally. We have 3 manufacturers that produce urea locally in country: the Dangote Fertilizer, Indorama, and also the Notori, which has since stopped production. But we have seen the increase in price, and we have called the 2 companies for discussion, and they relate to us that the gas that is the main input for manufacture of urea is priced in dollar, and because of the exchange rate, prices has to go up. In NPK, urea is constituted about 38%. So, and in another angle, when you look at it, other components of NPK is also the DOP, which is the phosphates and the potash that are also import-based. So when you look at it, the issue of fertilizer, the inorganic fertilizer prices have, we have gone into how we can encourage the manufacture of organic fertilizer, which is a lot cheaper than inorganic. In addition, we also received 2,150,000 bags of charge. We have already effected the distribution. We have given states the mandate we have allocated based on their comparative advantage that they have in terms of fertilization, and they're in the process of taking the delivery of the fertilizer. In addition, we have also improved farmer security with the provision of additional resources of agro rangers and other security agencies. Just a couple of weeks ago, we had an interaction with the Chief of Defense Staff, who had assured us that intervene is in the livestock production and animal health. Procurement and distribution of 14 million doses of anthrax, spore, foot and mouth diseases vaccine for risk-based vaccination exercises in 22 high-risk states and 7 livestock centers. In addition, Mr. President, His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is in the 1,000 bags of fertilizer and 61,250 assorted pesticides, fungicides was also distributed. We have also kickstarted the development of the Ginger Master Plan to facilitate self-sufficiency and promote export for foreign exchange earnings, and also to forestall any occurrence of the blight that had occurred. The report will soon be made available